All right, let's talk about Hawkeye. I've been very tardy in actually getting to my Hawkeye reviews. I wrote one review for episode 1, meant to make a video, didn't get around to it. I am terrible. I'm the worst person for YouTube and social media that ever existed and tried to make it in this world. So Hawkeye. I've seen the first 2 episodes, and I think it's great. I think it's really fun. I love Christmas. I'm a big old softie when it comes to Christmas, and this is a Marvel Christmas special, so what's not to love, right? Episode 3 drops today, so I'll be making another video about that shortly, hopefully. But the first 2 are great. We get introduced to Kate Bishop as a child. She loses her father when the aliens attack New York in the first Avengers movie. She sees Hawkeye, wants to be like Hawkeye, gets a bow, and then ends up being like a very athletic, competitive person, martial arts, fencing, archery, all that stuff. Her mom, it turns out, is mixed up with some shady, wealthy people. She's engaged to a guy named Jack, and he's actually, if you've seen Better Call Saul, the actor that plays Lalo in that show. So we know he's a bad guy. And then there's another rich, wealthy man named Armand, and at a big charity thing, Kate sees her mom and Armand arguing, and follows Armand down to this auction where some of the Avengers stuff is being auctioned off, specifically Ronan's sword, retractable sword, and suit. Now, Ronan, you will recall, is Clint Barton, or Hawkeye, his other persona, his violent, murderous, vigilante persona. But no one's ever discovered that persona. The auction is attacked by some thugs looking for a watch from the Avengers complex. We're not really sure what that's all about yet, but Kate gets into the suit and fights a bunch of them and helps some people escape, and then runs away. Jack, who we learn is very obsessed with swords, takes the Ronin blade. And then later, when Kate goes to sneak around Armand's house, she finds him dead. Seems like Jack might have done it, but who knows? It's a mystery. She is followed by the thugs, try to beat her up. She holds her own, but she's on the losing side when Hawkeye shows up and saves her ass. That's the first episode. There's also a great scene when Hawkeye, played by Jeremy Renner, of course, is at a musical version of the Avengers called Rogers. It's super, super cheesy, and he looks really, really unhappy. Not just because it's cheesy, but because they have Black Widow, and that makes him sad, which it's understandable since she's dead. Which you may have forgotten, since there's been a new Black Widow movie out since her death in Avengers Endgame. But yeah, she's dead. Then, excuse me, in episode 2, so they meet up at the end of the episode. In episode 2, he kind of helps patch her up a little bit. They're talking about, they're just hanging out, talking, and Molotov cocktail goes through her window. The thugs have followed her to her apartment also, so they have to make a quick escape. When he goes back to find the Ronin suit, which was left in the apartment, and it's gone. He notices on a fire truck a sticker for a LARPing group in New York, and thinks, well, maybe one of the firefighters is part of this group, snagged the costume, right? So he goes to this LARPing event. LARPing is live action role playing. People dress up. They have a persona or a character that they play, foam weapons and all that. And he does find the guy who has the Ronin suit. And the guy asks him, will you fight me for it? Because it would be a cool way to show off. And he also asks, can you lose to me? Which is a bitter pill for Hawkeye to swallow, but he does agree to it. And it's pretty funny. I loved this whole LARPing sequence. There's just a good, cheerfulness to it, and it's goofy, and Renner does such a good job. He plays the grizzled, burned out superhero veteran very well. But I just like Jeremy Renner. I think he's a fantastic actor. If you haven't seen it, go watch Wind River, which is really fantastic. He's also great in The Town, and many other movies. But Anyways, so he gets the suit back, and meanwhile, Kate is hanging out with her mom and Jack, and she doesn't trust him at all, and they end up having a big fencing thing where she kind of exposes him as actually a really, really, really good swordsman rather than just a dabbler. And kind of, and then he has one of these monogrammed butterscotch candies from Armand's house, which she is a little freaked out by, although to be fair, he's the nephew of Armand, so he could have gotten that at any time. It could be a red herring. Hawkeye is captured, or lets himself be captured, by the goons that have been tracking them all around, and is taken back to their sort of their base, where he keeps on asking to talk to their leader, and pretends like he doesn't even know who the Ronin is, and then Kate drops down into the in there and tries to rescue him very unsuccessfully, and they're both captured. So then at the very end, we see that the boss is a woman, and we don't hear her, or she really doesn't do anything. We just sort of see her, and that's when the episode ends. And we'll find out more today when episode 3 comes out. Overall, I just think this was lots of good action. You know, sometimes these Marvel movies and shows, the action is almost too much, but in this one, I think all the fight scenes are well-paced, well-choreographed. They don't drag on too long. There's plenty of humor mixed in. And just overall, it's a light and breezy, fun, Christmassy, action-packed adventure, right? The interactions between Kate and Clint are great. I think they make a great odd couple. The bright-eyed, bushy-tailed noob and the seasoned veteran, and she sort of he's her hero. He doesn't even really know this. He doesn't know the context of this, and I think it's a great setup. He's also trying to get home to his family, sort of planes, trains, and automobiles style. He's trying to get home for the holidays, but of course things keep going wrong, and what seemed to be a small task, just retrieving the sword and or just retrieving the suit. Really, he doesn't know where the sword is. Just retrieving the suit ends up kind of embroiling him in a larger conspiracy or whatever, and I think we're going to find out a lot more in this next episode. Of course, there's only 6 episodes in the whole show, so it can't go on too long. We should get to the bottom of it pretty quickly. So anyways, let me know what you thought of Hawkeye, or what you think of it so far. I've heard very mixed things. Like, some people say, I love it, it's fun, it's great, and other people think it's boring and cheesy or whatever. So I've heard from some people who say, well, that it's great, but that musical was just so cringe. And it's like, yes, that was so cringe. This is the whole point of that musical, was to make it super, super cringe, and so that we would feel the same way that Renner's character is feeling as he sits there trying not to pay attention to it. So anyways, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Peace.